And welcome everybody to another exciting night of Tech Thursday. I am your host, Hakeem Sanders, and we have a special guest for you guys tonight. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our YouTube channel or Facebook channel. And without further ado, let me introduce our guest.
Listen, he had me all excited like I was going to start the show. He had me all excited. And then guess who came on and stole my thunder, people? Mr. Tech as usual. But tonight is going to be an exciting night. We are continuing our series in living virtually. And I know this is one of the shows that you guys wanted to know more about. So we brought it for you. Listen, tonight's show is all about cameras. What are the best cameras to use for your live streaming? Angles, pixels, all of the good stuff. So when you're putting together your live stream meeting, your live stream conference, hey, everything is looking good and you're looking fabulous like us. So I know tonight is going to be exciting. Guys, come prepared with your questions. We have the expert. You would have sort of seen the name a few seconds ago. So if you're a grammar, Instagrammer, you definitely know this gentleman. You're gonna have fun with him. He's very charismatic. He's gonna tell you how to angle that thing so you could look like a supermodel doing your presentation. You know, I know. I can't wait. We trying to bring him in. We had him in a few seconds ago, and here he is. No
All right.
longer. You
Can
guys
everybody hear
don't
me?
have to wait.
All right. Can
Yes.
everybody hear me?
Yeah, we can hear
All right.
you.
Good night uh, to Akeem and Catherine, and good evening to your guests. My name is Al Raming, and I am a professional photographer, videographer, and graphic designer with more than 15 years experience in creating multimedia content. So, without further ado, I'm going to get into my brief presentation. Again, is it possible that you can load the slides?
It don't work like that.
Call me and I come here.
You don't have the chance to hurry up, try to run away from our viewers. No, no, boo boo. We gonna get all we could get out of you tonight. So, how we usually do it, we're gonna go to commercial break, and then we're gonna come back, and then the audience are gonna find out a little more about who Mr. Raming is. So when he is talking about the cameras, they can understand. Okay, this is the expert. He know what he's talking about. All right. So we're back. It wasn't that long. They couldn't, they couldn't live without seeing you. So, are we going to lightning round now? Listen, I had to hear that in surround sound. It was different. So, so Mr. Raming, we know your name. But now we want our guests to know a little bit more about Mr. Ramming. So we're gonna ask you questions and you have to answer which one. So apple or orange? Which one do you prefer? Hold on. Somehow we lost your sound. The lightning round stole your thunder. Look like a or gave too much thunder. Okay.
Can you
Apple.
hear me now?
Yeah. Apple or oranges?
Okay. Apples,
Ooh! Look at what.
PC or Mac?
PC.
Okay.
Look, you redeem yourself, eh?
Yeah, 'cause he say apple for the orange, so I need to figure it out. Is it an apple person or a Mac person? I mean, a PC person.
Okay. Kong salad or Kong fritters?
I'm an Adventist.
I don't know if I can believe that. All right, so
Okay.
guys, oh, so we know a little bit more about Mr. Raming's life, so you guys know, he's a sweet sort of Adventist type of guy. So now let's get into the presentation. Should we?
Yep.
All right, cameras.
Take it away,
All right,
Al.
so we don't need to go. We don't really need to go into my introduction. I already discussed that briefly, and it's basically repeating the same thing.
Hmm.
All right. Oops, we could skip to the next slide.
Sure.
All right. So whenever you're going Google, all right, think lab. Three basic principles. All right. Light, audio, and your background. All right. These are fundamental. These are the only technical things that you're going to have to worry about. And once you have these three things sorted out, everything else is basically storytelling. And if these are not done correctly, these are definitely going to affect your storytelling. Let's talk about lighting, Kim. All right, so you have to control your lighting, all right? So your light source should always be coming from in the front of you, all right? You want to show yourself in your best light possible. If the light is coming from behind you, you're going to be dark, all right? So what you can use is a lighting system I'm using now. It's a 2-point lighting system where I have a light in the front of me and a light at the back of me, but always avoid having a light, just one light directly behind you because you're going to be dark. That's
Yeah,
key.
I was
All right,
gonna
so
ask you.
number
You
two,
look little. You look a little bright there. I was gonna ask you that earlier.
You mean you
right?
wanted to tell him he bleaching?
Like I did, like I use my cake soap.
I was gonna ask, but I say, that's the lighting.
Yeah, but don't worry, I stopped using the cake soap from last week, but I
Oh,
digress.
okay. It hot
All right,
now. You
let's
can't use it.
That cold weather
yeah,
gone.
let's head on over. No, it's still here. It's still here. All right, so audio. All right, clarity is everything, and whenever you're doing a presentation, you want to try as best as possible to use a controlled environment. But in many situations, particularly COVID, right, you have a virtual meeting and the kids are home, and the neighbors are home, and the neighbors' kids are home, making noise outside of your window, right? That's not a controlled environment.
Right.
So with audio, what you want to do is, if you can't find a controlled environment, what you want to do is, all right, point out the source of the noise in the background because it's very distracting to your audience. Okay, you can say, yo, I'm having this meeting from home, and if you hear any noise, that's probably the neighbor's kids outside or whatever. All right, so it wouldn't be much of a distraction. And whatever platform you're using, MS Teams, Zoom, Skype, Messenger, whatever you're using, all right, when you're not the person speaking, you can mute the mic to avoid distractions. Audio is extremely critical out of the three. Audio is more critical than lighting, as a matter of fact. For instance, remember the days of the bootleg DVDs where you didn't mind um, persons
We
getting up and walking
never
in
did
front of the
such
screen,
a
yeah, that was
thing.
fine.
Never on Sanders
Yeah, well,
Consultants.
like, all right, you could deal, you can basically handle poor quality video.
Video.
But if the audio is off, the whole thing's off. So the audio has to be right. So audio is critical. All right. Let's say, for instance, the camera malfunctions. You can still participate in any meeting because you have clear audio. So the audio is the most critical. All right. And we're moving right along to the third part. Okay. All right. The background. All right. You must show interest and avoid distractions. All right. Piggybacking what I said earlier, um, always try to use a controlled environment. All right. I think some applications or some platforms like Zoom gives you the option to actually change backgrounds. For that, you can use solid color backgrounds, or yeah, you can use solid color backgrounds, preferably green. It actually makes it a bit easier. All right. Or if you don't have a solid color background, you can use your natural environment. All right. And your lighting will actually complement your natural environment. I'm not going to go too much in angles because regarding live presentations, there are not so many angles you can do, but to assist with your storytelling, all right, what you can do is practice the rule of thirds. And what the rule of thirds is, in a nutshell, is positioning your body. We slide over the side in such a way that you give your audience some nose room or some looking room into your environment. For instance, if I was a child I was talking about child care, all right, to make what I'm saying or to give my story some credibility, what I would do is I'd give my audience just the people of my environment. They can actually see the certificates on the wall, all of my accreditations, all right, to help validate whatever I'm saying. So give them some looking. And that is basically it in a nutshell. All right. Your lighting is critical. All right. Your audio is super critical, and your background is also important to avoid distractions, but it can also assist you in telling your story.
Interesting.
Oh yeah, and the source of my noise in the background is a 4-month-old crying. So just so you know.
Well, I didn't even really hear it, so that's a good 4-month-old.
No?
No.
No,
Yeah. We could barely have the 4 month old.
no. So you can move the slide or
That's it.
nice picture.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Well, no, 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 no. Ain't a wrap. Y'all listen. Mr. Ramming is trying to duck this. I don't know this camera conversation.
He camera shy. You can't see that?
I don't know what. I don't know. I
Never.
don't even know how he is camera shy. But to all our viewers out there, while we have this expert on, take advantage. Because if you asking him a question, you got to book a session and that going to cost you something. So get it while it's free. Now, I don't know if anybody have questions before I jump in and start asking all of the questions. I know you would have mentioned there not being too much angles, but what is your take on people who angle their phone? Well, depending on what they're using, and we're going to go into that. But they angle their cameras,
Hmm.
and you could see like their nose and in their ears, and
Yeah, throat.
yeah.
Or the Adam's apple.
Is there a distance they should be placing their cameras to have optimum? viewer attention? Should it be a foot away? Should it be 6 inches away from their face?
Roughly about 16 inches because it correlates with the speaker that you're using. For instance, if you place your recording device and if your recording device and audio device is built in into one, if you place both too far away, that's going to cause some issues with the person's hearing you. And because they can't hear you, all right, you're going to be speaking louder than you normally would. And it's going to sound like you're shouting. So about 16 inches away,
Hmm.
that should be perfectly fine.
All
All
right,
right.
so that's rule of thumb. Now,
Yeah.
we I would have mentioned devices. You know, when people hear camera, they think of snaps, but like what we saw in the photo with you. What is the definition of a camera? For those out there wondering what they can use to actually put on a good, live stream seminar, or if they want to sell a product. One, what is the definition of a camera, and what would you recommend?
All right. So in layman's terms, a camera is just simply a device used to capture light and emotion at a period in time. That's basically it. Non-technical as I can possibly make it. I think you also asked what is the best type of camera?
Um, what is the best? People are trying to sell a product or talk about something that they have.
Hmm.
And they're trying to consider if to use this phone they had from 1999 or
What?
or a laptop that they may have. Or, I mean, we've encountered it here at Sanders Consultants where people would have had a standalone camera and they wanted us to integrate that for their live stream.
Oh, okay.
What? He was like, what, 1999?
Yeah.
Um, what from an expert, what would you suggest? What's your recommendation?
All right, so the best camera is the camera that you have, right? So a camera is better than no camera at all,
But I ain't gonna lie.
right? So
He's a
as long as
politician.
it helps you, as long as it helps you to convey a message and to tell your story, right, you make the best of what you have. But let's say, for instance, you have the ability to, and you can do better, all right?
Mhm.
Professional camera, DSLR, or mirrorless, those would be your better options. However, um, cell phones are still popular, all right? Cell phones are, you can just pop it out and you can just
Shoot.
take a photo,
Yeah.
right? And the cell phone basically do all of the work, right? And that's why I said a DSLR would actually be better or a mirrorless, where you can actually change lens. And lenses for cameras are basically similar to knives that chefs and cooks use. Each knife would actually do something different. So each lens would actually give you a different effect, a different result. It would allow more light in, it would allow less light in. It gives you control basically. And once you have full control, you can effectively tell your story. For instance, you have a product and you want to make your
Let's
product
say a
as
makeup
moody
line. Let's say
as
a makeup
possible.
line.
You don't have that. All right, so makeup
Yeah.
definitely the camera that you have. For instance, there's a popular light out now called a ring light. You'd find that a lot of makeup artists use ring lights, and you have attachments that you can actually attach your phone directly internal. That's how a ring light works. All right, so that would be the best, particularly if you don't have the budget to hire a professional photographer with a DSLR. You do have a DSLR or mirrorless camera and you don't know how to use it. But regardless, the DSLR or the mirrorless camera would actually give you the better results because of the large sensor and the ability to edit your images.
Okay. So, Now, I'm pretending to be this new entrepreneur fresh out of high school and I want to sell these new type brand new juju and all I have
Brand
is
new Juju? What?
I ain't getting that.
I try to sell
What?
something. And all I have is my cell phone that my grandmother got me for
What?
Christmas. Listen, listen. Okay, somebody out there gonna need to hear this
1999.
message.
Yeah.
Um, what do you recommend for someone using their cell phone? Um, I know we would have mentioned previously, using a nice tripod, but how can someone like that with their cell phone capture good lighting and good audio using that camera?
The cell phone?
Yeah, off the cell phone bought by Grammy.
Okay, so with phone, like I said, the camera you have at the time is the best possible camera. And regarding light, the beautiful thing about light is light can actually be modified. You don't need a bunch of fancy equipment, for instance. There's something called diffusion where you can actually soften the light and that could actually make your product look better. Regarding audio,
I mean, with my cell
depending
phone,
on your
right?
device, yeah,
Okay, okay.
depending on your device, all right, um, you can actually use an external microphone. You can just plug it in to your phone jack. If your phone don't have a jack, my phone, I got a USB Type C port, so it doesn't have a headphone. I think most of the iPhones are like that. There's a jack that you can actually use. You can plug
iPhone.
in an external mic.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not an iPhone user, so but I digress. Yeah, there are tools you can actually use, inexpensive tools you can use to actually help you tell your story.
Okay,
S- s-
so like you would have said, any camera, as long as you have it, will do the job, right? Hello?
Hello.
Yeah, I'm just trying to repeat
Yeah,
what you were saying. So any camera will do the job. Just you have to make
yeah.
sure that
Any
lighting and
camera,
audio works.
yeah, any camera will do the job. You don't want to miss the opportunity to capture the purple cow.
the what?
The purple couch?
Hold on.
The purple
Listen.
cow.
Hold on.
Okay, so now,
Just 2021.
Yeah, remember. Yeah,
okay.
remember I said and briefly that the
Hmm.
camera is just a tool used to capture light and emotion at a moment in time.
Hmm.
All
Mhm.
right, let's say for instance we want to came for driving down Cowpen Road um on the back of somebody's truck, I don't know, right? And you seeing brown cows, white cows, black and white cows,
Hmm.
black and brown cows.
Hmm.
But all of a sudden, all right, we see a purple cow, right? So that's something memorable. That's something that you want to talk about. That's something you actually want to share because it ain't something you'd actually see on a daily basis, especially if that purple cow wearing an F&M shirt, right? So you got your laptop got a camera,
Hmm.
Akeem got his cell phone out, all right? And I got my professional DSLR in my bag. So Akeem knocks with his phone, he takes that picture. You gotta turn on your laptop, wait for Windows to load, turn it around, all right? I gotta go in my bag, set up my camera, put the correct lens on it. Who do you think captured that moment
Me.
while the truck is moving,
He said him.
Me.
right? So
He fast.
yeah, Akeem, all right? So in a nutshell, all
Mhm.
right, the the best camera is the camera available at the time,
Okay.
all right?
So let's say, I asked all the questions. So let's say I do have that bougie money and I want to spend that. What should I be looking or spend other people's money? Let's
Hey, hey, hey.
let's say
Valentine's gone.
gone. So let's say, what should I be looking for in a camera that that I should be looking for to give good live streams and to collect capture good images?
All right, so let me just speak on the capture images part. I'll touch on live stream in a sec.
Mm.
All right. Um, it really depends if you have the money for it. It really depends on what your intent is. Are you going to be a hobbyist or are you getting it for business? Are you a practitioner? Are you a tradesman in the art of photography or videography? That's what you have to factor in before you decide to actually spend your money. And regarding cameras, right? A camera body is just a camera body, all right? Eventually, you would actually have to replace your camera body, but the real value in photography and videography is actually your lenses, right? There's a saying in the field that you date the bodies and you marry the lens, right? Lens will last up to 5 to 10 times longer than the camera body. So you really want to be investing in good lenses rather than camera bodies. All
Okay.
right. So with regard to live streaming, same thing applies. All right. It depends on what you need it for at the time. For instance, um, you can live stream using your cell phone. You can do it for churches. You can do it for organizations and all that. But um, you don't have a robust set of features. For instance, you want to bring somebody else in. You want to add um, lower thirds. You want to add additional stuff. You want to go to a commercial break, right? Your cell phone wouldn't give you that option. So what you need are professional cameras. Kim can actually speak more to that. He's the subject matter expert. I can only skim on it,
Pass the
right?
baton, pass
But
the baton.
yeah, yeah, I passed it on to you, Kim. You could actually speak about specific cameras for live streaming.
Right. Um, I mean, for the most part, any camera can be used for live stream. Um, One of the common practices is somebody taking out their cell phone and just going live, right? But if you want to get more fancy and have different camera angles, have a full professional production, then you want to go into what we consider broadcast cameras um, that have connections such as SDI, um, HDMI connections, and you either now could have a cameraman standing behind each cameras capturing the event, or if you want to be fancy like Sanders Consultants,
Ah, shame plug. He like that. Shameless
shameless.
plug.
All of our cameras are controlled with a joystick, um, which is our cell phones. Um, so yeah, you just set them up, and then one person operate the cameras, zoom in, zoom out, pan left, pan right, tilt up, tilt down, um, that sort of stuff.
So do they have to worry about lenses too?
Yes and no. So lenses, for the most part, broadcast cameras are more fixed. It all depends on the zoom, whether or not you want a wide angle shot or a close up shot, um, or whether or not your subject is at a, I would say, a further distance. You want to make sure that your digital zoom is able now to capture that with a natural look.
Okay. So with the broadcast camera, should somebody, or does it equate better value, more money? How does it equate? Because, I mean, being in the business, a lot of people, when they see the cost of it, they tend to start to shake, like they have in the spirit. What should someone really be considering? Because I know someone is listening now and wondering if it's worth the money or if it's not. I don't know if that's a good way for me to question, like word the question.
Just for the broadcast
Yeah,
cameras.
broadcast cameras.
So, um, like I would have mentioned earlier, it all depends on your business needs or your needs. If you're looking like getting into broadcasting, live streaming events, etc., um, your budget is going to be up there. You can come into this environment and say you want to spend $200 on a camera and still have that professional, high tech quality of a $200 camera. So a broadcast camera can easily run you, especially landed here in the Bahamas, landed from about $3,500 to about a
And up.
hundred and some $1,000.
And up. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
So technically, what is being said usually with broads say right, no broke people. But say no broke people mental. Oh Lord, I can't. I
right,
can't. Say no broke people mentality. Okay, okay, okay.
right.
But for those out there who are pinching on the pennies, you know, there is still a way for you to be able to carry out your live stream and still look good. Just if you don't have the best camera, make sure you have really good lighting and really good audio.
Yep.
Agreed, Mr. Rami?
Agreed. Make sure
Okay.
your background ain't too shabby also.
Shall we start? Okay, so one of the last questions, because this was a question that was asked a lot, and I thought people would be asking all these questions for free. When y'all go and y'all go to book a session with Mr. Rami, don't be asking these questions. Charge them extra, okay? Pixels. It's always a big question. It's always, what pixels should I be looking for, Mr. Rami?
All right, so pixels. And the term pixels means picture element, and all it is a small cube. Now, when you talk about megapixels, let me, can I switch screens?
Sure.
One sec. Let me just bring up something quick, and I hope it's going to be clear. All right, can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so as I zoom in closer to the image, you're going to see a whole bunch of squares, right? These here are what are known as pixels, picture element. And each one of those pixels holds about 8 bits of image, 3 channels of color. This is the complete image, right? So let me zoom in some more. So pixels are measured, megapixels actually means a million pixels, and it's actually measured per square inch. So each square inch of this image has 1 million pixels. All right, let me just bring up something quick. Oh my. All right. So, all right. Can you follow along?
Mhm.
Yes.
All right. So, looking at this image is 5,247 pixels wide, 3,498 pixels across. All right. And if you multiply the 5,247 by the 3,498, that would actually give you how many megapixels, whether it's 23 or 24, that would actually give you your megapixels. And the more pixels in your image, the larger the file size will be. All right. And it also helps determine your resolution. So that's megapixels in a nutshell. Pixel simply means picture elements. It's a building block that helps to construct an image. Hope I simplified that as much as possible.
Well, I mean, hopefully our viewers.
Hello?
Yep.
Uh, listen, that almost sound like a chemistry class right there.
Mixed with
No, I mean
biology.
On
it's it's
Yeah,
Maxie.
it's
maths.
it's it's simple math. Megapixels, all right? If your camera, let's say for instance, 24 megapixels,
Mhm.
you have 6,000 pixels either across or in height or vice versa. And that'll actually give you the 24 megapixels. That's all it
Okay.
is in a nutshell. So the more pixels, the higher your resolution.
Okay. So, if I'm purchasing a camera or a device, the more pixels, the better the camera is.
Um, Not necessarily, all right? The more pixels, it would actually give you a higher resolution, but doesn't necessarily mean the camera itself is better. All it
Okay,
means is you have a higher resolution image.
let's go to resolution now. You going deep.
All right. So, in a nutshell, all a resolution is clarity. That's all it is in a nutshell. Clarity. How clear is your image? All right. Resolution can also be defined by your measurement, and that's also associated with your aspect ratio. But in a nutshell, and in layman's terms, refers to clarity. How clear will your image be?
Hold on, we had a break right there. You want to repeat that? You were
Hello?
saying you said layman's term resolution, and it sort of came in and out.
Yeah, I lost you guys for a sec. Sorry.
I was asking if you could repeat
Did you
that
ask a
again.
question?
Yeah, with the resolution, we you sort of broke in and out. I don't know if you want to repeat that again.
Are you there?
Probably lost him.
Yeah, I'm here. I think the feed actually froze. Can you repeat your question?
I was saying you made a statement about resolution, but we lost that sort of definition because we lost audio. Maybe it's me.
No. Al, can you hear us?
I can hear, but the screen is frozen, so
Okay,
but I
that's
can
fine.
definitely hear.
Uh, All right, that's fine. Uh, if you could just re-say the definition, that'd be good.
All right, so in its simplest terms, all right, resolution would actually be the size of your image, or to simplify it even more, it'll actually be the clarity of your image. All right, how clear is your image? So your image um, is, for instance, if you zoom into your image and it starts to degrade, that means the resolution is poor. If you zoom into your image and it's still sharp, that means you have a high resolution image. I want to make it too technical. I want to keep it
Right.
as layman as possible.
Right.
So resolution has to do with the clarity of your image that also correlates to your image size.
Okay.
Okay. So when we're looking for a camera, look for better resolution.
Now, when you're looking for a camera, you should look for a camera that can output at higher resolution, not necessarily better resolution. For instance, the resolution on cameras, sorry if I confused you a bit, but the resolution on cameras is actually variable. You can actually set the resolution. So when you look for a camera, make sure you have a camera that gives you the option to switch resolution.
Hey,
Okay.
Ashley.
Good night, Ashley. So I hope everybody's listening to these things when you're deciding to get a camera. All right?
Yeah. Well, like my child say, no broke people mentality. I ain't say it. That's what my child say.
So any more questions? Okay.
No.
All right. Al, Mr. Ramming, it has been a
Min-
blast. Oh, is there anything you want to say? Sorry.
now that means I get to go to church now.
I I thought you tell me you 7 Adventist.
Is it a
Prayer meeting.
church?
Right.
Well, it has been a blast, and I have learned a lot when it comes to cameras, and I'm sure all of our viewers should have a greater appreciation on what to look for when you're selecting a camera, And as Mr. Rami would have said, the definition of a camera is, I guess, an object that can but capture an image at a given time.
A tool,
A
a
tool.
tool you can use to capture light,
Light
emotion at a
emotions
point in time.
and a point
Light,
in time.
emotion, and memory at a point in time.
Okay, okay, guys, remember that. But listen, we're living in a virtual world. It doesn't look like we're getting away from this right now. If you're deciding to, especially for schools, these are what you should be looking for if you want to get cameras to put in the classroom to show your instructors, depending on how you want to have your situation going. A good camera is your first step. Now we're going to go into detail in audio and lighting during another show.
And background.
And yeah, actually,
Lab.
let's look at Zigga pull up.
Bang a line.
Ali better give you credit when he use this again.
Yeah, yeah, you should copyright that.
Like, you got it. You got it. So, on that note, Mr. Rami, we want to thank you for being our guest tonight and sharing your wisdom when it comes to cameras. You could say you're welcome.
All right, thank you for having me.
Boy, I tell ya. I tell ya. All right. Uh, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Arming, also for being our special guest. And talking about cameras. I learned a lot. I ain't gonna lie. No, I lie. I know some of the things, but some of the things I didn't know. But I appreciate the information. I'm sure our audience appreciate the information. We look forward to having you back on our show, discussing either the same topic or going at in a little more depth, or even just being a part of our panelists.
All right, sounds good.
All right.
And how can people reach you? I know the grammars know you good. The Instagrammers know Mr. Robin good. But how can people reach you?
You can reach me on Instagram at al.ramming.photography or on Facebook at alrammingphotography.
Okay.
Um, and what all do you do?
We'll discuss that offline.
Y'all listen. This is me too much. But anyway, we are going to, like I said, like we've been saying, for the rest, for a very long time, we're going to be diving deeper into living virtually. Listen, don't leave it all up to me. Don't leave it all up to me. Let us know what you want to hear for next week. If it's lighting, if it's audio, if it's background, let us know. We know what we want to do, but we want to hear from you guys. Let us know what you want to hear about next. So we have our guests lined up. Just let us know. We have a deadline. We have a cutoff time. Let us know by at least Wednesday. So, thank you guys for spending your evening with us. And we'll see you next week, Monday, same time, same place with us, being fabulous with us. See you guys next week. Yo, this is the first time Mr. Techien's trying to steal my thunder.
Say
I
hi.
know.
Say hi.
Listen. Listen.
Say
Oh
hi.
boy! Hi!
Nah,
Lighting!
don't you beat up my tablet.
Lighting!
Just say hi. Uh-uh. Just say hi. Don't beat up my stuff.
Yeah. All is like lighting! Hi!
Say good night.
Good night!
Say good night. Say bye.
Bye!
Well, I steal your thunder.
I
That was
can see
all.
who trying. Who trying to steal my thunder?
Good night, everybody. Until next week, same time, same place, right here on Tech Thursday. Good night. Uh,
So this is like